The likes of Western Union, Dahabseal, and MoneyGram were launched decades before Worldremit. So, why does everyone use Worldremit now instead? Before the pandemic shut down the world, Western Union had the largest share of the remittance market. So, when businesses, friends, and families had no choice but to interact with each other through their screens, Worldremit was set to see the sort of growth other companies can only dream of. But that didn't happen. Instead, Worldremit seemed to pop up out of nowhere and take over the industry in what felt like the blink of an eye. So, what exactly did happen? How did Worldremit's founder, who moved to the UK unable to speak a word of English, beat Western Union and build the #1 remittance platform in the world? And how did a young man's desire to send money to his family turn into a company worth billions of dollars? This is the incredible story that changed the world. This is the inspiring true story of Worldremit. Ahmed Ismail was born in 1960 in Somaliland. Throughout his childhood, Ahmed always had entrepreneurial instincts. Having grown up in a tight-knit family, Ahmed was devastated by the 1988 war and the Izhaq genocide that took place in Somaliland. Like everyone, he fled the country when war broke out in Somaliland, and Ahmed was smuggled out of the country in a dump truck. His hometown of Hargeisa was badly damaged in the fighting. The guy who helped me took a big risk. I acted as a worker helping him while he hid my passport in the truck, said Ahmed. I had no communication with my family. They thought I was killed. It took Ahmed over a month to reach his final destination in the United Kingdom. Once there, he took on jobs to support family members who had fled to a refugee camp in Ethiopia. Sending money home was second nature. Ahmed remembered how important remittances were for his family in his youth when relatives working in the Middle East would send their earnings to Hargeisa. It was like a gold rush for us, he recalled. Whether you were a clerk or a construction worker, if you crossed the Red Sea, you could make a lot of money. The transactions were costly to make and took months to complete, but Ahmed's family relied on them for a third of their income. The impact of the foreign cash was visible in Hargeisa, where people used it to buy properties and start businesses. Remittances really transformed our hometown when I was growing up, he said. After the war, the remittances from refugees helped rebuild the economy. Ahmed discovered how frustrating the remittance process could be during his student years in the United Kingdom when he tried to send home money he earned picking strawberries during the summer. The nearest place he could make a transaction took 2.5 hours to reach by train. The cost of getting there was quite prohibitive for me. That's when I thought there must be a better way to do this, he said. Ahmed studied remittances before going to work for the World Bank and the United Nations Development Program. While working at the UN, Ahmed blew the whistle on alleged corruption and suffered what the organization later acknowledged was retaliation. The episode initially felt like a setback, but it would lay the groundwork for Worldremit. After receiving $200,000 from the UN in 2010 as compensation for unfair treatment, Ahmed used it to set up the company the same year. Worldremit has since secured over $220 million in funding from investors including Excel Partners, Triple Point Venture Growth, and Silicon Valley Bank. Worldremit and Ahmed are based in Britain. Ahmed said his experience as a refugee helped him understand what customers need and how to build a company that delivers. One of his top priorities is a diverse workforce. A lot of migrants are similar. A lot of our customers went through the same challenges, he said. Worldremit fees range from 2% to 3%, less than most major banks would charge for similar transactions. The company undercuts banks by allowing users to pay into a local Worldremit bank account. Funds are then paid out from a Worldremit account in a second country of the user's choice. No money actually crosses borders. It competes with traditional money transfer companies including Western Union, as well as digital upstarts such as TransferWise. Worldremit offers recipients the chance to pick up their cash at a network of supermarkets and retail chains. Speed is critical for many of our customers. Apart from the amount they send every month, they might need to do urgent transactions, said Ahmed. Nearly a decade on, Ahmed's company now has almost 4 million customers globally who send money from 50 countries to recipients in more than 150 nations. With nearly $500 million in funding, the company is soon expected to reach $5 billion valuation. It may look like any other money transfer service, but Ahmed, who moved from the position of CEO to non-executive chairman last year, argues that its business model is unique. Instead of sending funds only from bank to bank, which it also does like digital upstart TransferWise or the traditional money transfer companies Western Union and MoneyGram, the transfers are also sent to a mobile wallet directly with a smartphone. While Western Union and MoneyGram have operated remittances services for years, they still rely on intermediate agents, typically corner shops, where migrants go to collect their cash. The agents are responsible for carrying out regulatory compliance such as Know Your Client identity checks, documenting every money movement. Worldremit, on the other hand, partners with local banks and mobile networks. In Kenya, for example, it is working with the electronic wallet service M-Pesa so that money can be transferred instantly to all customers. The recipient can retrieve the funds as a bank deposit into a local Worldremit bank account, as mobile money, airtime top-up, or as cash at a supermarket. The fees are 2 to 3% lower than those charged by most banks. Worldremit's closest rival is Remitly, another digital-only company that specializes in sending money from developed countries to the developing world. Digitalizing remittances also helps safeguarding the industry against money laundering in a market still heavily dominated by cash-tracking criminal activity is very difficult. Worldremit's digital system checks users against international watch lists and sanctioned databases and analyzes their behavior to look out for suspicious patterns. Every transaction leaves a digital trail, making it easier to spot and source criminal activities and networks. If a transaction is suspicious, there is a wealth of data to trace it back to a bank account, a card, and identity, says Ahmed. That's coming a long way from agents who can be untrained at best and turn a blind eye at worst. And, he adds, Worldremit has never been fined. This is Faisal Abi Media. If you like our content, please subscribe for more.